One time when my boyfriend was sleeping, his phone went off and it was from a Morgan, and I know all of his exes and friends, and like I've never heard of a Morgan before. So I went through the messages and they were talking about how much they missed each other, and I was like, weird. So I got on his Facebook and typed her name in his friends list, and there she was. And I went on her Facebook. It was really, really private, and I could only see like 3 or 4 profile pictures, and there was a guy in one of them and he was tagged. So I went to his Facebook and I saw that they were engaged, and I was like, weird. So I had screenshotted all the messages and then sent them to my phone, then deleted them out of his pictures and his phone, so he didn't know that I had them. And I reached out to Morgan. I tried to call her on Facebook and then was immediately blocked. And then I went to the fiance's Facebook and I was immediately blocked. So I said, that's kind of fishy. So I got on my second Facebook and I typed in the fiance's name and I went through his friends list and sent screenshots of the messages to all of the people with his same last name. And it turns out it was the night before their wedding, and it was rehearsal dinner night, and I ruined the wedding. So sorry about that, Morgan. Don't text my boyfriend.
Am I wrong for demanding my girlfriend to change her dress for a wedding? This happened during this weekend, me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague and I could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loves weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in time to fix her hair and makeup. As she got in, I told her she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change into a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things I have heard everywhere is that you should not wear white to a wedding, unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or off-white dress unless you're the bride, and that it's like wedding law or something, trying to be lighthearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said that it was an outdated tradition about women and virginity, and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white and that it's not a big thing anymore. I still thought she should change to another color but white or almost white because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me I was trying to control what she was wearing and that it was abusive. Which honestly made me really upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, "Duck, well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then." And then I told her to get the F out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug. But I just told her to get out, which she did. To clarify, we never left the driveway by her home. I did not drop her off in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, "I don't want to talk right now," and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was in the right. When I got home, my phone had blown up by text from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being an asshole about the situation. I don't understand people's obsession with trying to wear white to someone else's wedding. You don't even know the person either. It's your boyfriend's a colleague's wedding. Like, huh?
Am I the asshole for telling my relatives that I got kicked out when I was 18? A few weeks ago, it was my birthday and I turned 18. At 12 a.m. while I was sleeping in my room, my dad knocked on the door, turned the lights on, pulled the blanket off, and told me to get up and get out of the house because I'm 18 now. I already knew I was going to be kicked out as my mom and dad mentioned it to me in the house. They'd say stuff like, "I can't wait till your mom and I get some alone and quiet time when you leave at 18. I wasn't worried as I already had a good and decent savings amount of $5,000. Ever since I turned 18, I've been making a decent income as well. I can afford an apartment, essentials, and some nice stuff. So when I got kicked out, I left. Am I the asshole for telling my relatives that I got kicked out when I was 18? I have my own apartment and I'm living by myself. Today I had a group FaceTime call where all my family were on the call. My grandpa was talking to me and said, "Your father told me you moved out, right? To attend college. Which are you attending?" I said, "No, Grandpa, I didn't go to college. I moved out because I was kicked out." My grandpa went from smiling to a very angry, shocked face. He went off on my mom and dad and said cuss words I've never even heard before. He scolded them for 2 hours with all the relatives on the call. After the call, my mom and dad called me personally. They cussed me out and said that Grandpa never insulted them like that before.
Am I the asshole for picking a fight and telling my dad to grow up over a used pad? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My 12-year-old sister got her first period a few days ago. It was rather stressful for her since her whole life she lived in a house with no woman. With the help of a few female friends, I ended up getting her all the stuff she needed, and a few friends taught her what she needs to know. It was a rough start with a lot of cleaning, but she got in the hang of it. My dad didn't help much. In fact, I don't think he even knew she got her period before today when he saw a used pad in the bathroom trash. I heard him complaining about it to my sister and I stepped in. I was already irritated as about 20 minutes before that me and my dad got into a light argument. He was saying she shouldn't just be laying those things around. Part 2 is up. Part 2. Am I the asshole for picking a fight and telling my dad to grow up over a pad? Disclaimer, this is not my story. He was saying she shouldn't just be laying those things around and didn't want to see bloody products in his bathroom. I told him that it wasn't a big deal. It was one pad with some toilet paper on top of it. If it bothered him so much, all he had to do was take some more toilet paper and shove it down. That's when the argument got worse, and we both was borderline yelling at each other. When I said, "This whole thing is stupid, it's just a little bit of effing blood. It was in a trash can and mostly covered. Grow the hell up." He bit back saying it's not immature for him not wanting to see my sister blood stain pass around his space as well. That is gross and isn't his problem, though he shouldn't have to see it. Ooh, good.
Would I be the jerk if I asked my pregnant wife to move out because she and her best friend decided to test my loyalty? My wife is pregnant with our daughter. Initially, we were really happy and excited about it, but then she starts acting like a nut job. She gets angry, irrational for small things, insults me when she doesn't like the food I make, starts acting insecure, and accusing me of losing attraction for her. For example, she wanted to eat chicken sandwiches for dinner last week. Well, I made chicken sandwiches. So she eats all the sandwiches.
And told her that I was married. When I got home, my wife started to hug me and apologize. When I asked her what happened, she told me that her best friend suggested a test for my loyalty. So they asked a mutual friend to flirt with me and asked me out, and I passed. Yay. I'm really pissed. I am done with her antics. Would I be the jerk if I asked her to move?
Am I the asshole for saying that I wouldn't be playing mom with my ex's affair baby? My ex and I divorced 4 years ago because he cheated. He had an affair baby, Juniper, 3 female, with the other woman, but Juniper's mom passed away when she was 1. She doesn't have anyone else because her mom grew up in the system. He and I have 4 kids, Joshua 20 male, Cassidy 16 female, Nate 11 male, and Jacob 8 male. When we divorced, Joshua and Cassidy cut him off and they don't visit anymore and never met Juniper. He always blamed me for keeping his children away. Nate and Jacob still visit him and are close with the baby. I tried once to take the 3 of them out when she was younger, but it wasn't for me. And I know that she is blameless. Am I the asshole for saying that I wouldn't be playing mom with my ex's affair baby? I try not to engage so much. If she says hi, I say hi. If she waves, I do, but nothing more. Now every time I pick them up, she starts to mumble mama, mama. Last time she actually ran at me, calling me mama, and cried when I didn't pick her up and took her with me. I think she's just mimicking what she sees my kids do. Yesterday, my son spent Easter with my ex's family and Juniper ran at me again. My ex told me that seeing me be affectionate with the boys is confusing and hurting Juniper. So he asked me if I could take her for a few days and also let her call me mom. I said I won't be playing mom with her and that I'm only keeping a relationship because of our sons. Call me heartless.
My wife and I hired a babysitter, Adeline, 18, for our kids 8 months, 2, 4, 5, and 7 a few months ago. Adeline is great with the kids and she's the only babysitter that can handle so many young kids. However, a couple problems are that she's consistently late. It's usually no more than 5 minutes, but she has been 10 and even 15 minutes late. Another thing is, after she gets everyone in bed, she spends the rest of the night on her phone or laptop. She never cleans up in the playroom because she claims it's always messy and she doesn't know where anything goes and will only clean up what she did with the kids. For example, Adeline did an art project with my 3 older kids and cleaned the counters and the floor after the art project, but she didn't pick up the toys that were in the living room or do the dishes. Another problem is that her outfits can be a little inappropriate for the kids so young. Crop tops, shorts, skirts, dresses that are a little too short or low cut. I've asked my wife to talk to her about it. I thought that it would be more comfortable coming from another woman, but she refused, even though she admitted that she would like Adeline to wear slightly less revealing clothes. My parents are in town and they wanted to take the kids on a walk. While on the walk, they saw Adeline running in a sports bra and shorts that barely covered anything. All of my kids had seen it and we heard about how they had seen Adeline without a shirt for days. My 5-year-old has also been talking about how pretty she is and that he's going to marry her when he's older, which is completely inappropriate. I decided to fire her because of the reasons listed above. When I told my wife, she started screaming at me because she thinks that Adeline is a great babysitter and she's reasonably priced. I told her that Adeline is a bad influence and I don't want her around my kids, but she's refusing to speak to me until I call her back and offer her job back. She even wants me to offer her a raise if she says no. Am I the asshole for firing the babysitter for being a bad influence?
Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend not to spit in our food?
Okay. All right. Okay.
We're currently not speaking because of this issue, since I find it gross and my boyfriend can't see my problem with it. I do most of the cooking in our relationship, which I'm fine with. Occasionally, my boyfriend will want to do some cooking together / do some baking. The one thing I cannot stand is a habit he has when it comes to food. If my boyfriend thinks something is too dry or needs a better consistency, he will use his own spit and put it in the food. For example, the other day we were icing homemade cookies, and I caught him, quote, thinning out the icing mixture by spitting inside the bowl and mixing it in.
Free me.
And I just find it gross. His reply is to shrug and tell me that I get more of his saliva in my mouth when we kiss anyways. So it shouldn't be a big deal and makes literally no difference. Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend to spit in our food when we cook together?
Are you in your body when you type this?